Hey guys and gals, my name is Quinlan if you did not know that, and today I'm going to be reviewing Oliver Tree's debut studio album, Ugly is Beautiful.
Okay.
Oliver Tree came onto the scene a couple of years ago and he released a whole bunch of singles that did very well for an emerging artist.
Boy!
He then proceeded to release his EP and that did very well too with his breakout hit Alien Boy.
Wow!
Oliver Tree clearly portrayed himself as a meme. The guy's got a bowl cut, he's wearing sunglasses, he's got baggy AF jeans, he's wearing socks and slides, and he's got a very colorful jacket. I mean, the guy skates, and you must hear this guy talk.
You wanna go, little man?
It's quite comical. He's a very out there character, and a lot of people love him. So after he released his EP, he released a whole bunch of singles that would actually end up making the album. And I counted 7 tracks out of the 14. Half of the album is just consisting of singles that have already dropped. So I knew that I was gonna like this album regardless of the other tracks that were released alongside it. Ugly is Beautiful consists of 14 songs and is 37 minutes long. So it's not too long, but it's not way too short. It starts off with the intro track Me, Myself and I, and this sets up the album quite nicely because the general message is to just be content with who you are and have people like you for who you are. I quite like the guitar riffs on it, and I like the fact that Oliver Tree's voice is a little bit changed here, and it has 1 or 2 high moments and low moments, you know, sort of grand production coming all together at 1 or 2 stages in the track list, in the track.
Look at
rather.
this dude.
And a lot of people say that Oliver Tree wears his influences on his sleeve. I don't really know much about the genre that we are entering with Oliver Tree, and I don't really know much of the influences that he is apparently influenced by. I therefore don't really care for the fact that he might be quite derivative of a whole bunch of other sounds, just because I haven't really explored the genre of music that much. After Me, Myself and I, we get into the groovy track 1993 featuring Little Ricky ZR3, which is the only feature throughout the track list, and it's just another Oliver Tree persona, I believe. It's him with a deeper voice, if I am correct. I do kind of mess with the groove of the track, but it doesn't really appeal to my ears except for the sort of outro, which is a nice little banger at the end. It adopts the same sound of the beat, or rather the same rhythm of the beat and the groove, but it's got these very cool street vibes, and it's got these police sirens, and it's really nice at the end. But I just didn't really care for the groove at the beginning, and that sort of genre of music isn't really for me. We then get into the third track,
What the hell?
Cash Machine, and this has a very nice guitar in it, and man does Oliver Tree know how to write a hook. I can quote almost all of the choruses on this album just because they're so sticky. And this track is decently long. It's almost hitting the 3-minute mark, which is quite long for Oliver Tree, but it goes by very nicely. I like the track quite a lot, and it really adds to the general aesthetic and message of the album. We then get into the 4th track, Let Me Down, and this was a little bit of a letdown because it's quite short and the hook just plays over and over again. It is very catchy and I like it when it's on, but I wish it was a more fully fleshed out song, especially on this album, which is only 37 minutes long. You don't need any interludes, you don't need an intro, outro, you need fully fleshed out songs, and this track was a little bit of a letdown because it was so short. We then get into Miracle Man, and Miracle Man is one of my favorite Oliver Tree songs. I absolutely love the hook. It is a little bit short, but it's not so short where I don't get any content from it like on Let Me Down. It's a more enjoyable moment, and the chorus is just so good.
Nice.
And I mess with the vibe in the fact that he's been trying his whole life to just please this person, and this other person just isn't having it. Nothing is ever enough from him for the other person, and it just sounds like Oliver Tree was in a relationship and was feeling very inadequate, and it's quite relatable to myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people, feeling inadequate when you are in a relationship or friendship, and so on and so forth. It's got a lot of passion. Whenever Oliver Tree comes in and sings, he sings with his whole heart. You must see his Genius performances and so on. It's like his whole mouth is singing. It's quite crazy to see.
I tried, but I don't think so. Maybe it was me who was fucking up.
So a definite highlight and one of my favorite Oliver Tree songs of all time.
Okay.
Then we get into track 6, which is Bury Me Alive, and I thought this track was decent. I kind of mess with the rap vibes. I like the chorus quite a lot, and I think that Oliver Tree's persona is just boosting and oozing with confidence during a rap verse like this. I mean, he's in his persona fully when he is rapping this sort of retro 80s 90s rap style, and I thought it was a decent track. It's nice when it's on, but I wouldn't save it to a playlist. Then we get into track 7, which is Alien Boy, and this is his breakout hit. It's a very, very calm, chilled pop vibe, and it does feel like you're listening to an alien boy rapping, sort of suiting the name perfectly. I enjoy the track while it's on, but for me it's a little bit too like happy clappy, too like mainstream for me to actually enjoy as a single on a playlist or something like that. But it's nice when it's on, and it's nice in the track list. I just find it to be a little bit annoying when the chorus comes in like the second, third time. Then you've got Jokes on You and the track after that, Again and Again, which I liked quite a lot. I like the fact that Oliver Tree is being quite self-aware and realizing that people have been making fun of him his whole life, apparently, and that's quite sad to hear. I can sort of relate to the fact that people have dirt on you and they, make you feel as if you're being judged the whole time. Meanwhile, you're not really doing anything wrong. It's just adding to the fact that he's feeling ugly, he's feeling judged, he's feeling as if he's not enough. Then you've got Again and Again, which is another highlight for me. I really like the chorus on this track, and Oliver Tree comes through with some very, very nice vocals and changes it up a bit. It sounds like he's wearing a whole bunch of influences on his sleeve and has a whole bunch of genres working in one time with Again and Again. After Again and Again, we get into track 10, which is Waste My Time, and this track is really bad. I didn't like it at all. I thought at the beginning it might have some potential, but he's got this very weird whiny voice that is just awful. It really is awful, and it's annoying, and he's got this sort of culmination at the end where all of these things are like coming together. But I just hate the sound of his voice and the way he delivers stuff. After Waste My Time, we get into the best track on the album, maybe rivaling tracks like Miracle Man and Hurt, but Jerk is so good. Yo, Oliver Tree knows how to write a hook, and the production just complements him and works with him so well on this track. It builds up nicely, and then it just drops, and when it drops, it's such a good moment on the album.
Okay.
I sing this at the top of my lungs every time it comes on because I can just relate to it so much. Just being around people who are just awful, jerks, bullies, and just feeling as if you're never adequate enough around them, and no matter what you do, you're just going to get slandered for it. And I love the fact that Oliver Tree starts realizing people who just don't care for him and people who have been messing him around and making fun of him and using him and abusing him, and he finally realizes all of this stuff, and he's taking a stand, and he never wants to see them again, as he says on the hook. If you are going to check out any track on the album, I would recommend Jerk. Definitely Jerk or Miracle Man or Hurt, but Jerk especially. Then we get into track 12, which is Hurt, and this is definitely another highlight on the track list. It released before the album actually released, and it's one of my favorite Oliver Tree songs as well. It has a very similar vibe to Miracle Man in the fact that he's feeling inadequate in the relationship, and he actually feels as if he might be the one messing up and causing all of the problems in the relationship. But I believe that it might have been similar to a situation that I was in. I obviously don't know his situation, but for me, what I get out of it is that the other person was making him feel insecure, and the other person was blaming everything on him and saying that he was never good enough. And eventually he started doubting himself and started questioning everything that he was doing and felt inadequate and felt as if it was his fault as a result, when in actual fact it was just the other person not putting in as much effort into the relationship and blaming him for everything. I really like the hook on this track, and I just feel like Oliver Tree sings with so much passion and emotion, as I've been saying before. The production really complements him well and flourishes his persona and what he's trying to sing about and convey to us very well. After Hurt, you get into Introspective, which is the second last track on the track list, and this is another very good track. It served as an intro to an EP that he released before the album, and I thought it was going to perhaps be the intro for this album, but I like the fact that it is at the end because it fits with the general message. He's starting to become introspective towards the end of this album after stating all of the problems in the relationship or friendship or peer group that he found himself in, whatever you want to take out of it. And he's starting to realize all of these problems and focus on a way to live in the future that is better, and to stand up for himself and get out of the situation that he is in. It sort of helps tie up the general message of the album. Then you get into track 14, which is I'm Gone, and boy oh boy is this a good track. It is a perfect send-off for Oliver Tree, and the production is just super grand and fits the general aesthetic of the song, and it functions perfectly as an outro. It has two meanings. Oliver Tree is going to stop producing music as Oliver Tree, and he's going to move to a new brand, move to a new persona, and therefore he's gone from the music scene as Oliver Tree. But on the other hand, it's tying up the general message of the song, being the fact that he is going to stop being in the relationship. He is going to move on. He is going to find a place, a bunch of new people who are going to treat him better than the last person or people that he has been with. And he's had enough. He's had enough of feeling inadequate. He's had enough of putting in a whole bunch of effort and love into the relationships that he's been nurturing. It ties everything up so nicely, and it's quite sad to hear the fact that he's not going to be releasing music as Oliver Tree anymore, but I do hope that whatever persona he decides to put on next, or he just decides to be himself, I hope that it is going to be in the same style. So I knew I was going to enjoy this album before it even released because of all of the singles that he dropped before it, but I was hoping for a little bit more, and I didn't really get that much more. I would have preferred a little bit more, and a couple of songs that were better fleshed out in the forms of Let Me Down, for example, maybe one or two more songs, a couple more minutes, and then I might have scored it a bit higher, scored it maybe an 8, because it's decently cohesive, but it isn't perfect. And I think that this album definitely deserves a 7 out of 10. Please let me know what you would have rated it in the comments down below. What should I review next? I am going to be releasing a new video about new track reviews. Please follow the socials down in the description and listen to my pretty trash music if you would like to do that. Please leave a like and subscribe. I want to get to 100 subscribers before, I don't know, I don't really have goals like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where I'm going with my life. I'm out here reviewing these things, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Much love. Peace out.